The rest of the book follows the same process. We hit body and mind, and then we'll do the same age stage in their social world, and just kind of alternates. Then we'll do early childhood, body and mind, then early childhood, social world. So you'll notice a lot of the same things in these odd chapters, and then in the even chapters, you'll notice kind of similar patterns as well. Having averages and norms are really useful tools to kind of make sure kids are, meeting developmentally appropriate milestones and things. But just because a kid doesn't kind of fall into the average or the norm at a certain age stage doesn't mean anything is necessarily wrong with them. As long as they're eating and sleeping and generally being taken care of, they should be fine. Overall, 25% of children under the age of 3 have sleeping problems. That's according to parents in a survey. Newborns do tend to sleep about 15 to 17 hours a day in 1 to 3 hour segments. Newborn sleep is primarily active, so they'll typically doze, but then if they get shaken awake, they usually will go back to sleep pretty quickly. If they cry and are comforted, they'll usually doze back off. Newborns do have a high proportion of REM sleep, or rapid eye movement sleep. This is characterized by their flickering eyes and rapid brain waves. This is also when a lot of dreaming happens during REM sleep. The research is kind of mixed on where babies should sleep. Cultures are mixed on where babies should sleep. The U.S. culture specifically is one of the only cultures who chooses not to co-sleep with their babies. There's different reasons for this based on your family. However, I would say the research does show that babies do, when they wake up and they cry, their really only job in life at this point is to make sure that they're surviving. And if they know that someone is right there and can take care of them, if their needs aren't being met, they tend to fare better and have better attachment in the long run and things. We'll look at some of those outcomes kind of down the road. Head sparring is when, if you do have malnutrition, your brain is the last thing that ends up being damaged. All the blood goes toward the brain, and at the expense of other organs in the body. So your body will shut down other organs before it will shut down the brain. Expansion and pruning of dendrites occur for every aspect of early experience. Transient exuberance followed by pruning. Early dendrite growth is called transient exuberance. Exuberant because it is so rapid, and transient because some of it is temporary. Experience expectant is the brain organization you just get from being in the room. It's just this ordinary experience that kind of everyone is more or less expected to have. Experience dependent is brain organization that you get from specific events. So experience dependent would be if I live through a specific tragedy or something. There was a huge tornado in my hometown when I was very young, and I still have kind of some memories about that, and I have expectations based on the fact that I experienced that. However, other people maybe haven't experienced that, so they don't have the same brain organization I do with respect to that event. Neurons and synapses proliferate before birth. That just means they increase rapidly in number. This increase continues at a fast pace after birth, but soon an opposite phenomenon occurs. We have what's called pruning of unnecessary connections. It's kind of a use it or lose it situation. If you're using these neuronal connections in the brain, you'll keep them. If you're not using it, your brain will prune it out, clean it out. And this really happens in early childhood as well as later. Again, it'll happen in adolescence. The last part of the brain to mature, as I've already mentioned, is the prefrontal cortex, which is the area where all of our decision making, planning ahead, impulse control, things like that, all the things we really could use in adolescence. We just don't have. It's last to develop. It typically develops by your late 20s to early 30s. The infant brain actually contains billions of new dendrites. Every electrochemical message to or from the brain causes thousands of neurons to fire, each synapse to neighboring neurons.